Hi guys, I'm Jareth, and today I'm going to teach you how to make the best chicken and dumplings that you've ever ate. So I am going to begin by taking my frozen chicken. I'm adding some water in my pot, and I'm going to take my chicken and I'm going to put it in my Instapot here. You do not have to do this in this pot, and the reason why I'm doing it is because it's a lot faster, and I'm going to debone this chicken. And so when I cook it in here, it makes it really easy to debone, and it doesn't take that long to cook it. Oh, it's huge. It should be okay though. Okay guys, the chicken was too big for the Instapot, so I had to get another chicken. Okay, so I'm not only going to teach you how to cook chicken and dumplings, but I'm going to teach you the process of cooking for someone that has a food texture. My daughter-in-law and my son-in-law both have trouble with textures. She will not eat the onions or anything. So I'm going to teach you how to cook for someone like that. Okay, we got our chicken in the pot, and you can do this on the stove. So I am going to add about, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5 bay leaves to this. I love bay leaves. If you're not a big fan of it, you can cut that back and not add as many bay leaves to that. So I'm also going to add a little bit of Camp Dog seasoning, which is made here in Louisiana. Very good. I'm going to put a little bit of that on. I'm just sprinkling that. So now we're going to put the lid on. Close the vent. Got to plug this pot up. And I am going to pressure cook this. I am going to cook it for about 55 minutes, but you do not have to cook it this long. I choose to cook mine this long. Okay, so next up, while we got the chicken doing, we need to get our dough made, and we're going to put it in the refrigerator and let it rest. Guys, I do grind, however you want to say it, my own wheat berries for my flour, but I already have this, so I'm going to use this because this is what the majority of everybody will have. Okay, we are going to use 1 cup of all-purpose flour. We're going to use 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. We are going to use 1/2 teaspoon of salt. We are going to use milk. I use milk from our own cow. We have a mini Jersey. So I'm going to start out with 1/2 cup of milk. And I'm going to begin to mix this. And what we are looking for is to get this to form a ball. So we might have to add, because I never do measurements, guys. And so I'm trying to do the measurements this time so I can give them to y'all. I'm going to add just a tad bit of milk. Okay, now it's at the consistency where we need to get our hand in there and work it. I got this lid under there, and that's what's popping, making all that noise. See how it's beginning to form? We just want to work that dough a little bit. And then we're going to let this rest. And if you would need to do more, I mean, you can make another, some more dough like this, another settings of a cup of flour. Do 2 cups of flour instead of 1 cup. Okay, so now I have that worked, and we're going to let it rest. During the resting process, I'm going to place this in the refrigerator, and I will let this stay in the refrigerator until I need this to make the dumplings. Okay, y'all, the chicken is done, and I let it vent. The pressure came off, and so now I am going to open it, and I'm going to take the chicken out and debone the chicken. Okay, guys, while my chicken is cooling to debone, I am going to make some cream of chicken soup. Some condensed cream of chicken soup, to where I can add that to my dumplings to help thicken it up. So I am using 3 tablespoons of butter. I'm using a 1/2 cup of the chicken stock or broth that when I cooked my chicken in the pressure pot. I'm using a 1/2 cup of milk. I'm going to use a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder and a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. And then I'm going to cook that all together. And we're going to have some chicken broth, cream of chicken. I'm sorry. Some cream of chicken. And this would be like a regular can size of cream of chicken. Okay, the butter has melted, so I am going to add my tablespoon I know it's popping. It'll be alright. I'm going to add my 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour to the margarine. I am going to whisk this around for about a minute or 2 until all the butter and the margarine is blended together. So now I'm going to go ahead and add my 1/2 cup of chicken stock. You only want to do that for a minute, minute and a half. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to blend this chicken stock together. And I'm going to go ahead at this time, I'm going to add my milk, a 1/2 cup of milk. So I got that in. So let's go ahead and add a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. So we're going to blend this together. If you're not a big fan of black pepper, you don't have to use that much. And we're going to keep blending this until we get all those lumps out. See how thick that's getting? So, this is cream of chicken. Okay guys, I got the chicken deboned in my pot. So I'm going to add 6 cups of chicken stock. And this is what I cook the chicken in. Oh, I'm making a mess. So now here's the thing. When you have a daughter-in-law like mine, I don't use onion powder. So that way there's no problem with the texture. So I am going to put, let's see, I never measure, guys. I just pour and put in, but I'm going to start out with a half a teaspoon of onion powder. This here is a blend of my own peppers that I blend. I dehydrate poblanos, red peppers, cayenne, all them. That's my own special blend of peppers. And you can use some red pepper flakes. So this is some celery powder. I grew this celery, dehydrated it, and made it into a powder. I use a little bit of it, let's say probably a half of a teaspoon, not quite a half of a teaspoon. And so now I'm going to add some salt to this because I have not salted this. And at this time, guys, you cooked it with the bay leaves. I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt. So you cooked it with the bay leaves, so you don't want to put the bay leaves in at this time. You've done a pressure cooked it with those bay leaves. So I'm going to heat this up. And I'm going to let it start blending and cooking together and coming all together. But I can tell you right now, I am going to be adding 2 cups of water to this. All right, the 2 cups of water is going in. And so now I'm just going to let this cook before I add my thickener, cream of chicken soup. This is the homemade cream of chicken. And then I will start doing my dumplings and start dropping my dumplings in. Also, guys, this is optional. You do not have to add this. I always try to add a little bit of this. It's turmeric to my food because turmeric is good for you. It's good anti-inflammatory. And so I always add a little bit, and plus it helps with a little coloring too. But you don't want to put too much in it, just a little bit. Okay guys, I did a little taste test, and I am going to add some cracked black pepper in there. You can add a little bit more pepper. It just depends on your taste of how much pepper you like. And we kind of like our food a little spicy. Now I am going to take my cream of chicken, and I'm going to go ahead and just put that in here to help thicken up this gravy. And also, as you do your dumplings and you're rolling your dumplings, the flour off your dumplings will also help thicken the gravy too. So now, let's get started on those dumplings. Okay, so here is my dough. I'm just going to pinch a little bit of this off, and I'm going to just roll it out like this. I know a lot of people probably roll theirs with a rolling pin out, but I like to do mine like this because I like the little round dumplings. I don't like the square, the long flats. I don't like all that. You know, my grandmother would just pinch it off and drop it in there. I don't like big dumplings. So once I get it rolled out like that, I just cut it with this little, it's been cut, So now it goes into the pot. Roll it out. There we go. The dumplings goes into the pot. I'm trying to hold the camera and put the dumplings in there. See how they're cooking up? They swell up. I don't like no big giant dumplings. So guys, that's all it is to it. Pinch, roll, chop, put in. So when I get the dumplings all put in, I'll show you what it looks like. Guys, the dough, the 1 cup of dough that I used, it wasn't enough dumplings. So I just went ahead and mixed another cup of dumplings that I'm adding. So basically the recipe in the description is going to tell you 2 cups of flour instead of 1. And so it's kind of sticky since it didn't rest, but it'll work. I used the cold milk on it. But it's just better and rolls better if it's rested in the refrigerator. See how it's all sticky? Very good. And guys, I promise you, you will love this recipe. And once you cook it, if you think it needs a little salt or a little more cayenne or anything like that, feel free to add. I always take a recipe and make it your own. Okay guys, I got all the dumplings in. It's been cooking for about 5 minutes. Look at the dumplings. I want you to see how thick and creamy that is. So you want to cook these dumplings, but you don't want to cook them on high and bring them to a boil. You want them to just simmer low. Because if you cook them too fast, the dumplings will cook away. So let me taste my gravy and I'll let you know if it's perfect or not. It's hot. You see it smoking? I'm going to put a lid on this and let this cook. Absolutely perfect. It doesn't get any better than that. So guys, we're going to cook this for 15 minutes. We're going to let it simmer so the dumplings can get cooked. It's already thick enough. The chicken's done. Just your dumplings is what you're waiting on. But don't cook it too fast so your dumplings will cook away. So guys, if you like this recipe, give me a thumbs up. Share it out to your friends. That's the best way you can help my channel. And I appreciate each and every one of y'all. And God bless.